I'm going to see if I can create some quick tip videos here. We're going to keep them real short, almost no intro and no ending. Chain lube and tension. Daily practices. Get used to the idea of getting up in the morning and oiling your chain and setting tension. So there we are. That's the tool set for your morning chain tension, oil and lube. Get out your gear oil, fill up your lubricator, and get ready to lube your chain. Should always put something under your chain to catch the oil that drips off. I'm not making a big mess today. I'm just going to put just enough oil on to get the chain spinning. Today, I needed to lubricate my chain. So, I'm doing a quick test here. I'm going to use my finger. Everything I do just gets me dirty. And you're going to say, oh, hey, that chain is loose, right? Well, okay, no, it probably isn't. Double check. You see you're on the stand there. You can see here that the chain is sitting on the swing arm up there and it is loose here. Is it really loose? No. Let's take it off of the center stand and check it again. And we're off the center stand. Just setting up the shot here. Okay, so now I'm going to check my chain again. And yeah, the chain is still loose up top and still loose on the bottom. So I definitely need to do maybe half a turn on the back nuts for the chain tensioner. And that's going to take me some time. I'm going to have to loosen the axle, and I'm going to have to turn those nuts in the back. The first thing I want to do is I want to loosen up the nut on the other side of this axle. You don't need this flopping around. You don't need this so loose that the whole thing just moves back and forth too easily. Just reduce the tension on the nut so that you can get the swing arm to move back and forth. That way you don't lose the tension entirely, you know, if you monkey around with a wheel, which can happen. You know, the whole thing can slide forward or slide back. Maybe, you know, this plate will fall out of the back. You just don't want that to happen. Just loosen it up enough to get this to slide when those nuts are turned. First thing you're going to do is you're going to clean the silicone off the threads. Now, this is a steel brush. Steel brush is a little better than a brass brush, but you don't want anything getting into the chain there, so just pull away from the sprocket. Then you can take your wrenches, okay, and you should be able to turn those. So what I'm doing is I'm just cleaning off the threads here. Get some of the silicone off of there so that I can turn those nuts on the back. Then I'm going to get my famous LZ and ZZ sockets. If you like my jokes, that's 27 and 22. Now my torque wrench is always backed off when I first pick it up. Just want to put the wrenches on both sides and just crack it. A quarter turn is usually enough. We're going to go a little bit more than that. There we go. So that's all you need. It's just that little turn. Now, the lock nut is the gold one, which I've marked. You know, I've actually changed that nut. That's going to be a 13 and a 14. If you're stock, it's a 12 and a 14. What you want to do is you just want to set that up. Hold the locking nut in position and note the angle of your wrench and take it a quarter turn. And what you're doing with that is you're tightening up the chain and loosening up the lock nut at the same time. Now you want to go over to the other side and do the same thing. So it's going to be this way. You have to think about the way you're turning it. Hold the lock nut in place and turn 1/4 turn. Done. Okay, now check your chain tension. 1/4 turn at a time. So I'm just going to use the handle there of the brush. That's not quite right. So what am I going to do? I'm going to take it another 1/4 turn. Start with the right wrench. 13 on the gold nut, 14 on the silver nut. That's why I made one gold. Get it set up so you have a good position on the wrench. And take it 1/4 turn. Come to the other side, do the same thing. Hold the locking nut in position. Take the wrench, tighten it 1/4 turn. Now, I know since I took the axle more than a 1/4 turn, almost a 1/2 turn to loosen it, that I know that this is moving. That comes with practice. So where are we now? Oh, that feels better. Let's try again.
So this, I'm not going to need to lock nut anymore. So take it 1/4 turn. I can see from the adjuster that that's sliding. On the other side, take it 1/4 turn.
Now each time you take a 1/4 turn, your left and your right are going to start getting different. Ooh, look at that. Now that's snug. But I think that that's almost a little too snug. I prefer that it be looser. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to lock it down and go with it and check it. So now I'm going to go to the axle and lock the axle down. Set your torque wrench to locking. You should have to take that nearly 1/2 turn. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to set this up to 72 foot-pounds. I have to go back. The adjuster is kind of off. 71, 72. There we go. Well, you know your torque wrench is working as you get used to the feel of what 72 foot-pounds is. There it is. Let's check the chain. And get done with it and get on with my ride. Alright. Alright, that is not touching the swing arm anymore. But that seems pretty good. That's nice and snug. The top has a little bit of movement, but that's way better. And that's done. You can see the oil is dripping off my chain now. Give your chain time for the oil to move around. That's why I lube it first and then do the adjustment. Now all I got to do is lock the tensioners down, do a quick measurement test, and I'm done. Now, because this is snug and these are snug, all you got to do is snug, that should be a 13, is just snug that down. It's a 13 because I've got alloy nuts on there. So that's great, that's snug down. Then you got to glue that. Go to the other one, snug it down. And put some glue on there. Good enough. Okay, that's good enough right there. Don't need a lot of glue. Take a moment, clean the end of the axle pin off. Get Grandpa's compass out. So here I'm going to get Grandpa's compass out, and I'm just going to mark from the center of the axle, right? I'm just going to draw right through there. So there's a line right through the middle of the axle. And I'm going to put that at about the height of that nut. Take it and measure it again. Now, my line is usually just to the left of center. So, and it still is, it's just to the left of center. So, not on center, but to the left of center. That's good enough. I shouldn't be able to tell that that back tire is misaligned in some way. So I know that that's good. I've lubed my chain, I've set up my chain, I've tightened down my bolts. Everything's good. I've tightened down my nuts. Double check. I've even glued them in place. So that's good. That's good. One of the little tricks is, you know, if you're forgetful, if you set that up to 72, chances are it's done. So now you undo your torque wrench and put everything away. So turn your torque wrench down. Kind of hard to do it and show you. Make sure when you're done, always back out your torque wrench. And then put it away. So just make a note of where that is on the meter. I want to thank everyone for watching my video today.